up guys and welcome back to the channel. I'm Andy the Middle Aged Gamer and this is the 2024 Archwick APC9 K Pro Gas Blowback officially licensed by B&T Air review. Now let's do what we usually do. Let's start this off with the usual disclosures on screen now and jump in with some context. So back in 2023 at IWI to be exact, we basically got an early prototype, a first look at this awesome piece of kit. At the exact same time that this was announced, we also started to see the release of Maruyama's SCW 9K Pro, which is basically this, but with a Glock mag lower and no trades, and manufactured by VFC. Shh, secret. Now, at that moment in time, we got that. I had it on the channel, did a great unboxing, you guys loved it, and the only comments I really saw that was in mass, other than amazing, was that you would like to see the Archwick because you were waiting for that, knowing that Archwick might make it with better materials. Well, let's set you up with the simple fact that wishing for something doesn't mean it's always going to be great, and this review is going to have a few pros and cons. Let's get into it, and let's do what we always do. Let's zoom straight in, and as we go over it, I will reference the Maruyama, which I do have to say, they have now released the B&T Mag Lower version in full size, along with the SD2. And Archwick will be releasing, by the time this video comes out, it should have released the full size and going on for the SD2 as well. But given that this is already about a year late, well, let's jump in and let's discuss. Okay, so let's do what we always do. Let's start at the rear. Now at the rear, you do have a collapsible stock B&Ts, and you can grip it and rip it to deploy. It is, as you can see, multi-position. You do have 3 other positions. And one of the things you can kind of see if you look carefully is the butt pad. Straight away, today I was out at the range testing this out with 0.2 gram BBs, and as I can tell you, yeah, that came off. So when people say they're waiting for a better materials, etc., you might get the better materials, but quality assurance, anyone? The amount of glue, I don't know if I can pull it in there. You can just see there's a few globs. Certainly not enough to stick it to a cast aluminum end plate here, which is, like I say, very firm. The good thing about this stock is there's no player wobble in it, which is really good. A definite improvement over Maruyama's design. And as you can see, is nice and thick. So that kind of says it for itself. These are steel bars, cast aluminum end with a hard rubberized butt pad that I will glue back on at some point soon. And you do have steel hex screws that hold everything together on this stock. Now the stock does have a cast aluminum end cap, as you would say, to the gun, or the Airsoft replica, let's get it right. And you do have a nice big chunky button to push up, collapse, or extend. It's entirely up to you. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the grip. As you can see, with the APC9 Pro, they basically designed the lower so you had a modular grip system. Now this, to be honest with you, feels very much like an original AR-15A1 or M16A1, should I say, type of grip. It feels very thin in your hand. But if you don't like it, you open up this cap at the bottom, undo the screw, and you can fit any mil-spec AR-15 pistol grip. So find the one that you like, whether it's a BCM or a Magpul or something like that, and swap it out if you wish. I like this one. It's really, really good. You do get the B&T logo molded in there to the grip, so it's quite nice. Now, if we move up, we do get to the trigger guard. Now this is slightly enlarged. As you can see, it's been dropped down and lowered. That's really good. And when we talk about the trigger, it's an SMG trigger. It's not the best in the world, but if you've ever had any SMGs that are gas blowback, you'll know what I mean. So if I prep it, you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're at the wall. 1, 2, 3 to the break. You'll reset as the butt cap falls off. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 to reset, and then you got 1 mil back to the wall again. So you do have an audible tactile little break. It's very, very small, but it's there. And that it's very spongy. It's the best way of calling it an SMG trigger, which are very spongy by nature. Now, you do get your fire selector here. It's ambidextrous, mirrored on both sides. We'll show you the other side properly in a minute. But it's nice up for safe and down to fire. Now, of course, if you want, because this is based off of the military pattern, you, like I say, once you put it into that, you have to really, with a bit of force, pull it, move it around all the way, and now you're in the fast semi mode. But obviously, you're going to be using it in this mode most of the time, just safe and fire, and it is really good. I like it. I do like positioning. You can nudge it up with your knuckle down, or you can do it with your shooting finger if you want to do it that way. It's entirely up to you. I do like that. It's very positive and tactile. It's one of the good features. Again, good quality. Like I say, you're going to see in this video a mixture. We've already seen a negative with the buttstock, but you get a positive here, positive there, etc. It's going to be kind of one of those roller coaster rides. Now, you do get your ambidextrous bolt hold open / release, so you can pull it there, lift it up, hold it open, drop it. This is identical on both sides, and you do get your ambidextrous mag release. This is more of the button side, whereas on the other side it's more of a paddle lever, kind of like modern stuff, as you can see here. Now, again, you do get the B&T APC9, Swiss made. Like I say, it's really good. Now, one thing I will say right now, this was built from the official B&T blueprints of the real steel. So the upper here is 6061 billet aluminum that's been anodized with a very hard coating. This has been slung and battered, and there are slight scratches, you can just see them, but it's really done very well. I must admit, quality-wise for the coating, 10 out of 10, just brilliant. The lower is a match for the polymer size, dimensions, etc. for the real steel, so they've used the exact same composite polymer that they do on the real. It's a really good actual lower. Now, you do have takedown pins that steel here and here, and speaking of the magwell, it is slightly flared inside, so it's easy enough for you to slap in a magazine. I've had no issues or no desire to have a full-on flare or out like that to go something like a TTI, Terran Tactical. So that's up to you. Now, of course, let's talk about the magazines. Now, this is going to go to negatives. Now, magazines are quite nice. They fit in. They're nice, solid, no rattle, no play. And these magazines they look, from here, they will look like the KWA MP9 mags, but they're not. In order to get the correct feeding angle, which is slightly angled forward, they've redesigned the magazines and made it proprietary. These are not cheap. They are $59.99 at their very cheapest here in the UK, but I've only really seen them available for $64.99 and $74.99 for the exact same mags. They do have a nice softish, like, I would say actually medium rubber bumper. I've dropped these a few times and it just lands on there and saves your mags. Wear-wise on finish, you can see there's just slight wears. Even after 4,000 rounds, this thing is looking really good, because if you buy some of the other mags out there, they start to look a little bit worse for wear. Marking-wise, you do get all the correct dimension markings in that. It is a 30-round magazine. This will hold 30 rounds in here, although you don't get to see them, which again adds to the realism. That's kind of cool. Now, one of the problems I had with this magazine, and several of them, was the fact that when I would insert it, I would rack the bolt and I would get a click, no bang. But as you can see, I fixed that issue because of one simple thing. Just down to quality assurance. The knocker valve at the rear had not been screwed in all the way. What do I mean by that? So you will need a valve key. You'll need to insert your valve key here and tighten it down. You'll find it's very easy to move, which means it's not been tightened down, and you will need to tighten it down. It took another 1 to 1.5 full turns or full revolutions to get it to seat. In doing so, it allowed the firing pin, when you put this magazine in, it allows it up, and I'll show you when we take it apart a lot better, but then the firing pin could get out the way when you cock it as it resets, and then it will work. But otherwise, it was just there, and you were getting basically a click, no bang, and you were starting to panic. So yeah, that was one quality thing. It's nothing. If you have a valve key, if you don't, well, you're going to have to go get one before you can do it, or rack the bolt before you put it in, and then rack it again to load the BBs. It's silly. Now, like I say, because this is proprietary, you do have your actual actuation mechanism here from the follower right here, and they have definitely used a VFC style, but miniaturized way of camming it. So as that goes up, pushes up here, down there, and it seesaws this other one like this in the side. Okay? That's great. It's not bad. It's just, again, because of the coating of this paint is so rough, it's not a completely smooth, I would say, finish, and the metal is very, I would say, high quality. This arm, as you can sort of like see, it's a bit gritty. Now, some say we'll just swap the spring. It's not that. It's just this needs wearing in a lot. And you'll find that if not, this won't go up fully and it won't lock back for at least 4 or 5 shots after you've run out of BBs. So, again, just quality on the mags. It will lock on the side, and just to give you both sides of it, as you can see, loading them is really good. Again, it's got very easy, simple load. You can put 30 BBs in here really, really quick with your speed loader. So I'm kind of torn. Again, it just seems to be that same methodology in it. It's torn me, but we'll get there. Now, of course, moving back to the awesome thing, as I say, the upper is 6061 billet aluminum that's been CNC'd, so, and properly hard, what they call like a diamond-like coating on it. It's really nice. It's the same coating that's on the real one, so there you go. If I flip that around, you can see just in the grip there. Okay, Tampa, Florida, that's where it was manufactured. So that's kind of good. In the real steel, they've replicated the proper Tampa, Florida there. And while we're there, okay, so if you look here, you have 2 holes. The lower hole here, closest to the grip, that one right there, that's your hop. And the other one is a retaining screw part of your hop chamber there, just to stabilize it and that. It's really, really good. And like I say, that's where you would adjust your hop with the Allen key supplied. It is a pseudo TDC. So if you've seen my review on the SCAR 17, you know how they've done it with a skeleton structure around it that pulls directly down, a little detent right in the middle, and that's exactly the same sort of thing, but instead of leaving the screw exposed, they've hidden it away. You do get a non-reciprocating charging handle, which is great. You know, it's fine. And like I say, that's all good. It works, it's ambidextrous, and these do flip out the way. And you do get a monolithic, I would say, Picatinny rail along the top. They do supply you with front and rear flip-up sights. Again, another little bit of a problem. In the box, you get this little piece here. This is your front hand stop / sling loop. You would fit it at the front if you wanted to use a forward mounting sling. Because I use a 1-point sling for this, I can easily use that, so I didn't need it. But can you notice something that's missing? Yeah, it's a screw. It's supposed to go all the way through. In the box, didn't have it. I contacted BZ Tactical. They basically turned around and told me, oh yes, of course, we'll have a look. They went and had a look at all 14 that they had in stock, and they were all missing screws. So they contacted Archwick, and Archwick said, oh yeah, just take one of these screws out of here, and you can use that because it's the same one, and then not run a front sight. So you have to choose, either have a front sling loop / hand stop, or have front sights. As you can see, I went with the foregrip and front sight. It's stupid, nasty, and horrible. And I've been waiting for over a month now for them to ship one out to me, and I've not received it. I've not had any confirmation of shipping or anything. Just a promise that as soon as they've got them, they'll do it. So, okay, BZ Tactical, if you're watching this video, time to fulfill your promise. But yeah, it's just stupid. But again, that's quality assurance. Again, Archwick, once again. Highs and lows. Now, these sights are decent though. You do get a nice multi-aperture here at the back. You can flip it up for far or close. And of course you get your front sight, which is adjustable for elevation, and rear for windage. You do get the pistol little sight, so you can see through the rail and use the irons if you want to do it like pistol sights. So you can co-witness if necessary. It's really easy. I do like that. The overall designs are good. Again, like I say, just a mixed bag. At the front, we have a tri-lug adapter muzzle device. So, again, at the front, we have a tri-lug muzzle device. If you don't have a tri-lug suppressor or tracer unit or light up unit for your thing, again, it's hard to use those certain words with YouTube without them flagging the video. But if you have a you-know-what for this, then you can use that, or you can unscrew it. Now, if you unscrew the muzzle device, it's just a muzzle device. You do have a little thread here that is 12 millimeter CCW thread. So it's the exact same MP7 thread that's on the VSC MP7 if you want to do that. But if you don't like that, well, they provide you with a barrel removal tool. You would slot that in all the way down, undo the barrel, and once you've got that out, you can see just some holes here. You literally will just put an Allen key through or something and just unscrew that. Once you unscrew it, you can now fit a conversion adapter, which makes that a 14mm CCW. And then you can fit any normal muzzle device there for a QD and put your tracer unit on that way, or whatever you want to call it. Again, it's a good idea. I like that. It's nice that they put it in a box and they allow you. The only downside is the inner barrel does go quite far out, and so you either have to choose to add a spacer to this, or, like I say, use a flash hider that has the QD system on it, like a Knight's Armament or whatever you, or a SIG, and you can fit it that way and it will work. So again, pros and cons. We're continuing on the roller coaster ride. Marking wise, on top you do have your B&T. You do get this now mock has a ejector there, and you do get obviously the address there and a QR code as per military rules, and for theirs it helps them identify the weapon. Now on the other side, markings wise, you do get that on the bolt, APC9K, caliber 9x19, etc. And as you can see, all the controls are fully mirrored. As I said, you do get your more of a paddle style release. You push that button there and it lifts up, so that's nice. You do get your ambidextrous bolt hold open there and fire selector. It's really nice. Now you do get two of these. I've only put one on, but you do get two of these rail segments up here, and there for you to put your lights and lasers. I don't want to put a light on it yet, but I did put the one on just in case I do. So that's kind of cool. I do like that they give you all that. Now, how about we take this out to the range and let's see what she can do. I'm using 0.25 gram BBs and green gas. Okay, so that gives a average of 281, which is not bad for 0.25 gram BBs, and that's a high of 290.4, low of 278.1. That's decent. Okay, so let's take this back to about 10 meters and let's see what the grouping size is. Okay, not bad. Okay, let's try the Texas style. Let's see how fast you can clear it. Okay, very quickly. Okay guys, so accuracy wise, this is absolutely fantastic. It is decent at 2 inches, thereabouts, 2.5 at its maximum. It's a really good system. I have no issue there with it for accuracy wise. When it comes down to full auto though, there is an issue, and we'll get to that in a moment. Let's start, as we always do, with the lower. I've got my little magnet right here, so we can show you what you get. So, right off the bat, here is the lower. Now you do get steel takedown pins, just like the real one. Like I say, this is dimensionally the same as the real steel. You do get a nice little, what they call it, reset for the firing pin there. So if I set the firing pin, your reset there, if you watch it in, boom, goes in. It's a decent little thing. But again, that steel, you've got steel disconnector there so that you can actually fire the gun. It comes off if you look, and if I show you, it kind of levers that out the way, allowing you to fire the gun. Okay, so quite a good system and works. Now, obviously, like I say, the firing pin is steel, and here is the issue that I was trying to tell you beforehand. Okay, so when you insert the mag, you can just see there on the top, the actual firing pin has been lifted. But if that valve is too far out, it won't clear. As you can see, it's not going to clear, right? It can't clear out the way, and therefore you have to do just sort of like move it out the way and faff about with it to get it to clear. As you saw there, it worked. So if I reset that, okay. So in order to do it, you will need to, like I say, you can see that it's not moved, but if I move the mag, it's just moved out the way. Okay, so again, it's silly, but it's all to do with that actual knocker valve, which does undo itself. Again, it's not so tight that it won't, and if you tighten it too much with it being brass, it will break, and therefore you're looking for a new knocker valve, or you're throwing 75 quid down the drain for a new mag. It's stupid. One of the other problems I had on it is, as you can see here, now this is the actuation system. Can I show you that? You can just see if I can, like right now it's working fine because I put a small little piece of tape on that side just to push the magazine more into a 90 degree. I did level it and did a proper check, but doing that allows this arm not to be rubbing right there on that wall of the magazine. So where that goes down, as you can see, it's now giving it just a hair's worth of distance so it doesn't stick. Otherwise, this won't come up and it won't grab your bolt. Okay, so just want to FYI that. Now, speaking of, that is steel bolt stop. The actuation arm is steel. All the bits there, your hammer is steel. The bearing is steel, like I say, disconnector is. The only thing that's not is your polymer arm. That's just like the real one, if not is the real one. For doing it because these do use the same thing. So, yep, that's decent enough. All your springs obviously are steel. Now, that is your lower, and like I say, you've seen the issues I've had there. Not everyone's going to be the same, because I've seen some that can handle full auto, some can't. The full auto reason is the gas here. When the knocker valve is going backwards and forwards, the gas seal right at the top here, touching the bolt carrier, doesn't form a good enough seal, and therefore, basically, starts pissing out gas everywhere, and, well, doesn't work, does it? So, there is an issue in itself, and it's just something to bear in mind. The good news for me is I live in the UK, and as far as I'm aware, most sites in the planet don't allow anything but semi-auto in CQB areas. I've not known a site that allows full auto, complete, you know, sort of like fun modes, as they say, indoors. It's semi-auto only, and BB weight maximum is 0.2 gram, or 0.28 gram BBs. So again, your results might vary, your product might vary. If you get yours, you might have a whole host of different, but these are just QC issues that I do think that an extra 6 months wait could have fixed, even though we're already about a year behind schedule. Now, if I move that out of the way, let's talk about the bolt carrier, because obviously it's one of the most important parts of this gun. Now, we'll start with the weight. So if I get my little scales here, okay, we'll flick that on. We will zero it. Now, if I put the bolt and its retaining pin, which is always cycling with it, okay, you're talking 173.49 grams. That's very light. Again, a very lightweight bolt, and so the recoil on this is, what's the word? It's light. It's not as snappy as the Marui Armor, but you know, it is still enough. I mean, it's a nice bolt carrier. It's very similar to the bolt that's inside the UMP from VOC in that respect, in size and shape, except the way that they do this, as you can see, it is dirty, but you can see everything there and how it is done. So this has some quite cool features as well. Okay, you do get the Marui locking lug spring loaded, so when this goes back into battery, that hits there and that's your springs. So as that goes sliding down the rails, it'll slam into the hop chamber and it will load your BB in that. But you've got that to buff it, so it lasts a lot longer, they thought. It's not heavy enough to do any damage, but oh well. And not only that, but they, if I can get that here, they also spring-loaded your bolt catch. This is your bolt catch. It's where it will catch on with that nice little large nub on the lower there. It locks onto there and it's spring-loaded. Again, not really going much far. You do have a nice bit there, but as you can see, there's not really much prominence. As you can see, there's not much prominence here. You do need this to be slightly more lowered down a little bit, I feel, to get a better seal on there for what they have. You have your retaining hex screw here at the rear, and yeah, other than that, it's a decent bolt carrier. Don't get me wrong, it is decent. Okay, the retaining pin is steel, and the bolt is aluminium. As you can see, the bolt catch is steel, so that's nice, you know, but this is just standard aluminum. That's it, it's a cast aluminum bolt, which is perfectly fine for what it is. It does the job. Now, guide rod, obviously steel spring and steel rod. You can see there. So that's really good. It's a 2-piece rod in there. So nice and captive, does its job. Now let's talk about the upper. Now as you can see the rails in there and some basic wearing and at the back there. I don't know if it'll come on light, but you can see just basic wearing is fine. Your hop chamber is right there. It uses a blue bucking. Now the inner barrel and bucking on this is standard universal gas blowback spec, or Marui spec if you want to call it that way. So yeah, if you want to put a better tight bore in there, get an even tighter group, you certainly can. Also increases the FPS a little bit for you, and you can always put the bucking of choice in there. They have given you a decent bucking, but like I say, it's just up to you. As you can see, this is full, unbelievable, nice piece of kit. This, I am really impressed. Like I say, you screw there to retain this little piece in along with the main screws here. You've got everything there that you need. It's really good as bolt designs go. And like I say, if I can show you in that, your mock extractor there, or ejector if you want to call it that way, should I say, right there, is replicated. So yeah, so how about this? Let's shoot this thing again, and while I shoot this, let's get this thing, how would you say, put back together so we can discuss. Okay, if you've gotten this far in the video and you like what you see but you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button while you're there, hit that notification bell and like button so that way you stay notified whenever I upload a new video, and you really help this video with the YouTube algorithm. If you do want to go one step further and you really want to help this channel out in the age of demonetization from YouTube these days and restrictions and so on, especially across this topic of airsoft, well, you can use the YouTube thanks button and donate to the channel that way. Doing that does two things. One, it allows me to put bigger and better guns on the table, and the small little cut that YouTube takes convinces them to be a little bit more lenient on the channel and listen to the channel so that you can actually do it. So it does kind of go both ways. Whatever you decide to do, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, let's get into final thoughts. Okay, so Archwick, what you doing, man? This is the best way of describing it. There are so many good highs. The external quality, the internal quality, the over-engineering is just great. The materials, fantastic. The coating, brilliant. Accuracy, fantastic. Full auto, rubbish. And when you're getting things like the butt pad coming out, the gun needing to be, magazine weld needing to be shimmed just so that it actually cycles and locks back correctly, tightening down things. They're all small little things, missing screws, etc. They're all a kind of roller coaster ride. Now, when you compare that to the very much simplified Murayama build that uses a more widely available, lower cost, so if you have a Glock 19, Glock 17, Glock 18C from VFC, or a gun that uses VFC pattern mags like Murayama, or even now the Marksman 9, you can whack those mags in and run them all day long, and it will work. And it's significantly less. It's about 100 quid cheaper. If you were to import it yourself, you will find it very cheap. I think the new full size with 2 magazines is about £220 and £240 for the SD variant that's just been released. They do use B&T, but I think they've gone more the KWA style of magazines, or more compatible with them. So again, it is going to be a case of, even if they're proprietary, they're only 35, 45 quid for the mags. They're not as expensive as the Archwicks, etc. So you're kind of like having to use premium, but you're paying a premium price. And are you willing to do that? Is the case of. Now, I do like the Murayama. It's a lot more simple. You do get a little bit more stouter recoil. Don't get me wrong, this does have recoil. I'm not trying to say it's like nothing. It has a nice recoil, unlike the Chris Spectre. And it is snappy. As soon as you've learned that trigger and you understand it's an SMG trigger and you run it that way, you can pull off split shots, double taps, you name it. You can run this. It's really good. It's lightweight. It's maneuverable, built with very good materials. What's not to like? It's just the QC for me. That's the downside, and the price and the proprietary magazines. If they'd have gone with the KWA, sacrificed a bit more of the realism with the angle of the mag, as you can see, it's slightly kicked out forward, not perfectly vertical. And in doing so, if you'd have gone that way with it, they would have been able to basically save a lot of money in one side with development of the magazines and that would have brought the overall cost down to a more eye-pleasing, let's say, figure, and given more options to the shooter, which is always a good thing. But it's Archwick. They are kind of always known as high-end. You look at, for instance, the AR-15 that just came out, the Christian Craighead replica that they've done, and that's like nearly £2,000, you know. They're not a cheap company, and they do make absolute great products. They just, like I say, kind of suffer the GHK phenomena of QC for some reason. But again, that aside, this is a good, little SMG / PDW. I really do like it. I've used it quite a lot now, and to be honest with you, I'm not planning on getting rid of it anytime soon. But I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments. As always, I don't want to destroy it. It is a good gun, and if you like Archwick and you're into their ethos, you're going to love it. It's really good. They do give you a lot in the box, like the barrel removal tool. Many companies will ask you to buy it. Iron sights, many companies ask you to purchase them. You know, they do kind of be generous to you. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. I look forward to reading those comments. And with that, I've been the Middle Aged Gamer. You guys have been amazing, and I'll see you in the next one.